In conclusion, I'm calling this bebop and rock steady. Because they're not going to beat a ninja, but they're going to tear some shit up. Welcome to my messy studio where we make art and we make stuff to make art. I'm Patrick, and today we're going to be making a makeshift ninja field recorder. This is a standalone game capture card. And this is a Field World F5 field monitor. I'm wondering why people aren't using these together. I think it might be because of this. Most of these game capture cards actually run off of 5 volts and 2 amps, which is pretty much the same for most USB. So since this is the same, why don't we just grab a USB power bank and a USB to 5.5 millimeter adapter and have some fun. So let's get the bad out of the way first. This is not a 4K solution. It's just not. This is on the cheap. There are 4K capture cards out there, but most of them are pretty expensive. Most of these capture cards that I have today, I'm going to show you, do allow 4K pass-through, but in this case, this setup is not for 4K. So what's the other bad? No RAW. Sorry, I'm not going to get into the argument of you need RAW or you don't need RAW. I'm pretty much in the camp of art by any means necessary. So I would pay attention to your lighting, your ISO, shutter speed, aperture, the coloring on your camera itself, and just leave it at that. That's pretty much the best you're going to do with this solution. So if there's no 4K and there's no RAW, why would you do this? Well, that's pretty simple. Argument number 1. You do not have a microphone jack on your camera. That's just the sad realization for most people. They just don't have it. I'm shooting on a Sony a6000. That doesn't have a microphone jack. If I want to use an external microphone, I am tethered to that computer right over there. And that's kind of unfortunate because I'm using just a standalone capture card that throws the HDMI signal into the computer. Okay? Second reason, you want to record for more than a half hour. Most, if not all, mirrorless and DSLR cameras don't record for more than 30 minutes at a time. To do that, you need a cinema camera or a camcorder. This is a way to get around that. Third reason, you want to record right to a hard drive. Some cameras just don't have that option. You're stuck with SD. But in this case, you can record right to a hard drive of your choosing, or even a thumb drive. If those weren't enough reasons to give this a go, the fourth reason is that it's really cheap. So, here are the basics. Your camera, which has to have a clean HDMI out, goes in to this game capture card. Your mic, if you have an external mic, also goes into this game capture card. That, in turn, is outputted to your field monitor or any monitor you'd like. Or you can exclude this altogether and just use your camera's monitor. The point is that this plus this equals poor man's ninja. So the first capture card up on the chopping block is the AGP Tech VG0020. It cost me $30 on eBay and averages about $60 on Amazon. I'll throw the link below. So this is the AGP Tech. Let's take a look at it. So here we have where your media goes. Then you have a line in. It's not what you think. I'll get to it in a second. we have your mic in, a line out, and a record button. On the reverse side, you have your HDMI out, your HDMI in, and component in. When I initially bought this, I thought this was exclusively an audio in. And I was like, oh, sweet, I can hook up an analog mixer to it and run line audio through it. That's not the case. That's tied to the component audio. And then we have this DC in, which is, according to the manufacturer spec, 5 volts, 2 amp. This is the Cloner Alliance Evolve. It's about the same size, a little bit thinner. On the front, we have your IR sensor, and we have an indicator light. On top, you have a record button. On this side, you have a headphone jack and a mic jack. And then you have a micro SD card slot as well as a USB slot. And then on the reverse, we have a power adapter for 5 volts, 2 amps. And then we have 2 HDMI ins. And then we also, it came with a dongle for component in and then HDMI out. And this is to the PC. Apparently, and this something I didn't try, is you can use this as a normal capture card. So you can run it right through whatever software this comes with, or probably OBS or even just the standard webcam app would actually do the trick. Okay, so let's get to the setup. We'll start with the HEP tech. So first thing we need to do is get power to this, and that requires one of these. This is USB to 5.5 millimeter by 2.1 or something along that lines. This is a pretty standard cable, and 5.5 is it's a pretty standard cable regardless. Now this came in a pack with some adapters for different sizes. We'll actually need a different one for the other capture card. So let's plug this into power. Okay, now that's in power. Now we need a power bank. This is a Dell branded power bank, but any power bank should do that supplies 5 volts, 2 amps. So we'll go ahead and plug that in there. So that's ready, and we see the green light is on, which means we're ready. So when that is set up, we then have our field recorder. Our field monitor. Okay. So now it's time to hook everything up. So in the HDMI in, okay, then this goes into our camera. Since I'm using my camera, I'm gonna have this little cheapy do. This actually won't work. Your camera needs to have clean HDMI out, but for demonstration purposes of how the setup works, so this goes into this. Now we need to take this and we'll plug it into the out of this. Pretty much if you've already used this, you know this setup. It's really kind of easy. And then put that in the HDMI in. Pretty simple, huh? And then of course we have a few other things, including a mic. Normally we'd have an extension that goes into the mic in on here, and then a USB in there. So that's pretty simple. The Cloner Alliance setup is just the same. So power bank first. So what we have here. Now this is a different size adapter. This is a USB to 4.1 millimeter by something I'll put in the description below. So that goes in here, and then you see it's powering on. So that, and then we have the out for the field monitor, of course. Okay. And we have a mic. If you're interested in this mic, it's cheap and only slightly better than the one on your camera. As soon as I have everything set up, you'll get a short demo of it. So this goes into the mic on the side. And then of course we have from our camera, and have that going into one of our HDMI ends. Now we throw a battery onto the field monitor really quick. Now, that no signal is because I don't have a camera hooked onto it yet, but should be able to we have this is the Evolve remote, so we see we have a display on there. I'm gonna set everything up with the camera so you can see it working. We're recording, and you probably don't believe me, but I can prove it to you. I can pull this off my tripod and we can take a look around. So right here we have the power supply. Right there we have the power supply. Oh. And we have the card and the blinking Evolve. So it's working. Things to remember: you need clean HDMI to do this, and I would turn off the audio out of the camera if you're using an external mic like this setup. If you don't do that, you're going to have 2 layers of audio that are going to be a nightmare to clean up. So it works pretty well. My Dell Power Companion that I showed in the demo, that's kind of finicky, sort of resorted to this little cheap old thing that I got off of Woot one time, which is even better. So my experience with this was actually pretty nice. Aside from the fact that it has to be FAT32, I was pretty happy with it. So what does that FAT32 format on your USB actually mean for you? Well, it means you're only going to record 15 minutes and 22 seconds of video. Now, I know, I said that you would be able to record more than a half hour. And sure enough, you can. Because it will just go to a new video that's another 15 minutes and 22 seconds, and it'll append it with like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So you can record for as long as you have storage. Now there is a problem with that when you combine all that footage. You may get a frame drop. Let's check out this example. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000. Now, I don't think that's too bad, especially as I see how most people cut on YouTube. I think it's perfectly acceptable for that. If not, if you don't like that, then you just interject some B-roll. So what else about this card? Well, honestly, the reviews are mixed on Amazon. I was pretty skeptical when I bought it off of eBay. I was really afraid it was just going to fry. Now, I did not use this for hours on end. I only used it for 31 minutes and some change, to be perfectly honest with you. And some people on Amazon think this is garbage, while others think it's great. I even saw one guy post pictures on Amazon reviews, and he has holes drilled all over the chassis just to keep it cool. The only heat or overheating I experienced was on my media drive specifically, but that gets hot anywhere I put it, whether it be a Chromebook or a laptop. So I wasn't that concerned. But overall, I was pretty okay with this. Another drawback to this is that when you put a mic into this and then output the HDMI signal to a field monitor, my field monitor didn't pick up on that mic audio. And that's unfortunate. I couldn't look at any audio peaking. So this would not be my first choice. Next up is the Cloner Alliance Evolve. Now, I really wanted to like this, and I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to, but it's still a solid card. You have more inputs, not that you need them for this use case, but what it has over the other one are some pretty big things. One, the media that you choose for your SD card or USB can be formatted to FAT32 or NTFS. So NTFS does not have that limitation that FAT32 does. Okay? So you can record for as long as your media card will allow you to. You can even adjust the bitrate on this. So you can have it a limited bitrate on NTFS, and it'll chop it up just the same as it does on FAT32. What else? The pricing. This is a bit more pricier. Instead of the other card, which is about $60 on Amazon, I bought this on the manufacturer's website for about $120. So 120 plus the 120 that I bought my field monitor for, it's about $240. Still way cheaper than a Ninja, but is it worth the price? Maybe. So what else is wrong with this? I had some issues with the recording in some scenarios. So using the SD card and an external mic, I found that I could hear this thumping noise. And I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm hoping to get in contact with support so I can upgrade the firmware. Another good thing about this card over the other is that it does have an upgraded firmware. It also outputs the audio to the field monitor, if I didn't already say that. Second is it has a remote, so I can start it from across the room if I want it, which is also great. And you can control the gain of the microphone. So that is also a big plus when it comes to the Evolve card over the AGP Tech. In conclusion, I'm calling this bebop and rock steady, because they're not going to beat a Ninja, but they're going to tear some shit up. As soon as I find a Rokusaki, I'll let you know. So please like and subscribe. See you next time.